New York court was making public the indictment against Gautam Adani. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Joe Biden was busy shaking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's hands in Brazil. In the past few years, while on the face, the United States has claimed to be a close partner of India, a lot of things have happened that question Biden's approach towards India-U.S. ties. The White House statement on the New York federal court's indictment and then issuing of a warrant was that this will not affect India-U.S. ties. While on the face, U.S. is saying this, there is a lot that has happened that makes us question if we can trust America. Let's take a look at these dents, of which the latest one is obviously targeting Adani to get to Modi, and then ask the question, why is Joe Biden torpedoing India-U.S. ties before he gives up office? Remember, this has happened literally in the last month before Mr. Biden relinquishes his presidency to Donald Trump. So let's quickly take a look at those dents, of course, that have happened. Religious Freedom Index, remember, that has, of course, been a big sticking point. The attack, of course, on India was that India was named a country of particular concern. It was released by the U.S. Commission for International Religious Freedoms Index. Also, the Press Freedom Index. India was ranked 159 out of 180 countries on that index. This was released by Reporters Without Borders. Another sticking point was the egging on of Justin Trudeau. The White House statement on that was the U.S. President Biden is mindful of the serious allegations made by Trudeau. Many, of course, believe that that couldn't have happened without the U.S.'s support. The jet engines deal delay as well. The halt that took place. India was forced to slap penalties on General Electric for delay in delivery of F404 engines by a period of 2 years. So obviously there have been these dents. Of course, it has not been all smooth sailing along the way in the Biden presidency. Let's examine this with Pathikrit Pain, geopolitical analyst, who's live with us. Also with us now is Major General Sudhakarji, defense expert. Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, is joining us live as well. Dr. Monica Verma, foreign affairs expert, is also live with us. Let me make a start with you first. Pathikrit, what do you make of this latest dent in India-U.S. ties? Even officially, the White House says this development in New York will not affect the relationship.
Uday, good evening, and good evening to all my fellow panelists, prospective panelists. See, first and foremost, this is the duality of American diplomacy. They will do something, one arm will do something, and the other arm will come and say, no, nothing has happened. So, all that you mentioned, whether it is technology denial, or whether it is promoting separatists in the name of activism, or whether it is alleged election interference, whether it is pinning down India, putting India worse than Pakistan and Sub-Saharan Africa in hunger index or democracy, and now targeting of Indian business. All these are happening because of one particular issue. The issue is India refuses to be a subservient country of American dictums. Primarily, America treats most countries like India. They want to treat as, like plantation slaves, slaves in the sugarcane plantations. That's how they deal with it. That's how they behave. And let me tell you, because Adani's, I'll tell you the reason why they're targeting Adani's. Adani's have been investing, and one of the very few companies in India which has the capacity to invest in long-term infrastructure projects. So when you talk about development of supply chain resilience of India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, which Prime Minister talks about, or investment in long-term projects which have huge gestation periods, like 10, 15 years, whether it's the ports, or it is the green hydrogen, or whether it is the hybrid plants, or the entire ecosystem of renewable energy, Adani's have been at the forefront of it. And because Adani's have refused to be part of the woke culture, and they integrate Indian culture, traditions, ethos with nationalism, that is why they are an anathema. And if you look at these judges, most of the federal judges in United States, unlike in India, are appointed by the Senate. Look at what Donald Trump had written in the recent past. He had stated that the Democrats are trying to stack the courts with radical left judges on their way out the door. Republican senators need to show up and hold the line. Look at this entire judicial process in United States, which tried their best to prevent Donald Trump from even contesting this election. And he won it, overwhelmingly. So before coming to any conclusion, I would request Indians to understand the ploy that is being played here. They will target all those Indian companies which are playing a critical role when it comes to development of India's resilience. And Adani's may not be the last one. They have targeted other companies also because we refuse to be subservient, because we refuse to be part of the woke culture. I would rather urge people that buy the Adani stock and ensure that the short sellers get a hit back this time and don't make money out of it. Those who are criticizing Adani, trying to pin it down, be rest assured many of those have bought the Adani shares, shorted the Adani share to sell it now. So it is a long-driven ploy which is going on. My last point, Uday, the Americans themselves have invested in the Adani infrastructure projects. In Sri Lanka, the International Finance Development Corporation have invested more than $550 million. So it is important to understand Adanis are chosen in many of the cases because of the proficiency they have developed in operation support across the world, not just in India. And why is it that many of these so-called political activists and politicians in the opposition, they cry on Adani? How many of them have gone to the court and got a conviction? They could not. Indictment does not mean conviction. It is a mere formal acquisition, nothing more. So I think, unfortunately, a lot of Indians still jump to the conclusion that, oh, he has been convicted. How dare the Americans file a case on something happening in India, if it has happened? And it does not mean that we completely disown our own industrialists, our own entrepreneurs, because if you have to create jobs in this country, if you have to be Atmanirbhar, you have to stand by your own industrialists and these entrepreneurs. Many of those who denigrate Adanis and the Ambanis did not spare a single word will never utter a single word of criticism for the American industrialists. Why? So there is a double standard, hypocrisy and a conspiracy going on. We need to stand firm. If any wrongdoing has happened, let the courts in India investigate, let Indian investigation agencies investigate and do the needful. But we should not judge by what the Americans and these radical left judges have to say. Back to you.
Yes, okay, let me take that to Major General Sudhakar ji as well. Major General Sudhakar ji, do you believe there has been a pattern to these dents, be it the Religious Freedom Index, the Press Freedom Index, and now this fresh dent? The fact that obviously delays happened of engines as well under the Biden presidency. Tariffs had to be in fact sanctions had to rather be slapped on General Electric for that by India. Is this a coincidence or is this a pattern?
No, Uday, good evening. Thank you for getting me to your show. I think having known Pathikrit, he deserves to have the last say on the subject. There is nobody better than him. But let me give you my perspective as I have understood USA. I keep traveling to USA quite often. And I am a student of geopolitics as well. You see, let's take our mind back to a professor in Harvard University, Professor Graham Allison. Now, he has written a lot of papers and also maybe a thesis may be existing today in which he has gone to explain the Thucydide trap. When you talk about Thucydide trap, all that it highlights is that any established power or any superpower will never accept the rising power to come up to its level and challenge its authority. It's an established fact. He has carried out research in this particular paper, and in past 500 years, he has picked up, there are 16 instances wherein such kind of things have led to conflicts in 12 of them. So therefore, it goes without saying that America is a superpower, all right, but today we are not in 20th century, we are in 21st century. It's Cold War 2.0. From bipolarity, we have gravitated or transited through the unipolarity, self-acclaimed by the superpower, and we are all mindful of the fact that superpower is no longer the superpower that is understood and perceived by the entire planet. It's a declining superpower, and thereby giving lead to multipolarity. And in multipolarity, the same country which was taken benefit of to ensure disintegration of USSR, and everything was outsourced, converting into the manufacturing base or the factory of the world, it started showing teeth in terms of technology, military might, your economy, everything. So what it brings to me is that all these are premeditated strategies to ensure that the rising and the shining India is is retarded by hook or by crook to such sub-minimal level that we cannot aspire to actually go up to where we are anticipating by 2047, thereby pose a challenge to US. So this is the preamble. Now allow me 2 minutes more, Uday. Let me just highlight a couple of issues. In the instant case, now if there is a thing taking place in India, as a soldier, and the basic layman interpretation of the legal paradigm, how does a judiciary of US have a locus standi on a factory or industry coming up in India wherein they charge the apex leader of that establishment, Adani, and indict him and all the fellow associates? Is it an established law in the rules, the rule of law in the universe today, in the planet today? We should ask these questions to USA. If that be so, there are many instances. Many instances you talk about Nikki Haley becoming from a bankrupt to a millionaire now. Obama has certainly turned into a 400 million from no money to almost like a billionaire now. Similarly, there are many other examples in USA. We can also quote their example and ask them for accountability. So the locus standi, in my opinion, does not exist. Hence, this particular case is just basically to bring in distraction and delay the rapid progress which India is making. Now, next point I have. The next point I have is, you see, let's not take things in a glib manner, because what is visible is, it is much beyond the eye that is not actually catching our attention. The attention is the deep state of USA. Today, USA itself is driven by deep state. Take your mind back to when Biden started his presidency. This man came up, he was out with all very noble ideas, but in no time, they were taking a total ugly turn. The defense industrialists in USA, they are driving the governance. And the same people, they had made the life of Donald Trump miserable in his previous tenure. So one of the challenges for Donald Trump is to actually rein them in, take stock of this deep state. And they are the ones, if they could actually, ensure that Biden sanctions and provides the long-range missile systems that we are talking of, that army tactical missiles, which can go deep into Russia, and they are providing it to Ukraine. What more do you expect in the world order today? Here is something which they have crossed the red line themselves and bringing in, welcoming the nuclear, not saber rattling. These are all serious threats. Putin is being provoked, is being cornered in such a manner that he will be left with no more option but to resort to the nuclear bombs, which can actually now targeting. There, the deep states are the people who are compelling Biden to take such kind of decisions, which will actually force Russia to identify targets in America itself. While you and me are talking in this panel discussion, Russia has already prepared the target list in USA, East Coast, West Coast, Central America, all the places. There are more than 50 targets which have already been framed. The azimuthal bearing, everything, satellites are being reconfigured. That's the kind of preparation Russia is going in for. You think there is some sanity in USA, the way it is functioning? No. Next point. Allow me to bring out another point. You see, it is not for the first time. You talk about the Hindenburg's incident, short selling. It happened once, it happened twice. In between, I couldn't keep track because I myself, I was traveling around the globe. I think it has happened for the third time also. What was the outcome? The outcome is that Adani has been given a free shot. He is absolutely come out clean. Similarly, you talk about George Soros. His wife is related to the judge, the advocate, who has come out with this bright idea of indicting Adani. So such kind of thing, the deep state. The son of George Soros, if I recall correctly, in one of my trips, I came to read an article or saw TV news, CNN or maybe some channel there. He has visited the White House 14 times in the tenure of Biden. A Prime Minister of India as noble, as credible as that of India, how many times has Narendra Modi gone there? Here is the son of George Soros who has visited White House 14 times, whatever for. So there is a very deep entrenchment of the deep state in the Democrats. And what Biden administration has done so far, what they are planning to do. These 2 months are very crucial.
Yes.
Trump has to keep his fingers crossed, and the whole world order has to focus
Okay.
on exercising or compelling the Biden administration to exercise restraint. Otherwise, they will be pushing everything beyond the control of the mankind. The universe, the humankind will not.
Absolutely. Let me take that to Joyita Basu now for her take as well. Joyita Basu, this fresh development, of course, what impact will it have on India-US ties? What do you make of this, development, the coincidence or no coincidence that has happened in the last, literally in the last stage of Joe Biden's tenure? It's interestingly happened in the same state that it convicted Donald Trump in New York. The conviction has happened here too by a DA. All coincidences or a pattern to it all, Joyita?
I think there is a complete pattern to it, because you see what is happening. Actually, none of us really anticipated that they will be so, I mean, given the scale of the defeat of the Democratic Party, none of us really thought that they would dare to do what they are doing right now, which is basically hobble the Trump administration even before it comes to office. And you see, I mean, given that they cannot possibly deny Trump, stop Trump from being president, what they are trying to do is, basically they are trying to destroy everything that he will be handling, be it Russia-Ukraine war, be it the relationship with India. Even if you look at the appointment of the judges, they are trying to get everybody Democrat friendly judges being confirmed. That is why these Trump has been saying, the Republicans should come together and all, and stop these left radical judges basically coming in, because they are going to destroy everything. And that is what exactly is happening in New York, because if you are looking at New York, that is the state where even Trump, all the concocted or whatever the cases, all of them, what is called lawfare. When it comes to New York is right at the forefront of conducting lawfare against the people who are opposed to the Democrats. The problem in this case is, you see, what exactly is Joe Biden's position in this or situation. Joe Biden, as you mentioned correctly, he is shaking hands with with Mr. Modi in Brazil, and there are these people where who are kind of going around basically placing landmines everywhere. Okay, every possible policy they are going around placing landmines. Now the thing is, you see, so is Joe Biden his own man, given the kind of cognitive impairment that we have seen in him? Is Joe Biden his own man? Does he even understand what he is being fed, or is he just nodding and these people are going around doing it? So what, now my first question is that what exactly is the deep state? Now since we cannot possibly define the deep state as such, but what we can see is that in this Democratic administration, in the Joe Biden administration, Biden has lost complete control. He is not in control at all anymore, because let us not forget, it was under Biden that ICET was signed in January 2023. That sharing of critical technology and all, but the progressively Biden's, I would say deterioration, health deterioration, and you see it is kind of proportionately, I would say, India-US relations have taken a hit. So obviously the question will arise about who are the people, and you see, given that, for example, this is advantageous for China. If you look at what is happening, say Kenya, they cancelled Adani's deal. So if you are looking at that, and who is going to benefit from that? China. So whatever steps these people are taking, they are basically trying to destroy Adani. They are trying to ensure that Adani will not be able to raise funds from the US, but why not? But why not on a basically a flimsy excuse. And there is no proof also. From there to give an arrest warrant and all, I am certain all these will be settled when the Trump administration comes to power, but it seems these people are at one level, I would say, they are pursuing what is known in military terms as scorched earth policy, destroy everything, okay, and we are kind of collateral damage in that, destroy everything before Mr. Trump comes into power, I mean, if that means start a World War III, we spite him so much that we are going to destroy, and that he will not be able to stand for the next, he will not be able to govern for the next 4 years. So, that is what they are trying to do, and the worst part is, you see, even a section of the Republican administration is involved in Republican establishment is involved in this. We saw what is happening with the Matt Gates case, where he was not allowed to become Attorney General. So, you see all these things, they have all kind of come together. We never actually, I am certain, perhaps even, although I was told by some in the US and Canada that we are very worried about what is going to happen in the next 2 months, alright, and that is what exactly is happening. So, you see this, of course, when you are looking at a pattern, there is a pattern, and I am told that inside the State Department there are lots of anti-India forces. In fact, this State Department is staffed with full of anti-India people. So, as a result of which, when you are talking about the USCIRF and everything, there is an active collaboration among these forces against India. It has happened. In spite of that, the relationship was quite stable in terms of defense and all. That is because I personally believe, in fact many others also believe, because of Mr. Biden, but Mr. Biden is no longer in control. I mean, you can make out God knows what he is saying, God knows what he is thinking. Okay. So, and it is being taken full advantage of by these forces.
Okay. I'll take that to Monica Verma as well. Monica Verma, this is of course a pattern. It's clearly being done. Say the other panelists, is that something you agree with, or do you believe this is a coincidence? Also, what all effect will this have on the India-US relationship currently, and do you believe it has actually suffered, even though originally on the surface of it the White House has claimed that all is well and all is hunky-dory?
Well, Uday, I believe that this is a classic good cop, bad cop strategy, where one department is, targeting a big businessman from India, someone who has, worked for India's geopolitical and strategic interests in the last 10 years. In fact, if you look at Adani's portfolio today, so many projects across the world, if there is one, business group, in addition to Reliance, of course, then it's definitely Adani. He's been setting up such strategic ports and different other kinds of infrastructure across the world. And trust me, we are a free market economy, so we do not have that kind of, support that the state can give to other private companies the way China does it, which is, of course, it's a closed economy, but they support their state-owned enterprises a lot. In that scenario, when Adani is challenging not just the Chinese interest, but he's also adding to India's rising power, then of course, the Democrats, especially the deep state, as everyone has been talking about so far, definitely, they are not liking it. They are not appreciating the fact that India is now going to be another challenge in this multipolar world, when unipolar world is not going to be that significant, and America's power is coming down. In addition to China, there's another Asian player which is not, quite behaving the way the US expected it to be. And, interestingly, I completely believe this, that, Kenya has been given a major non-NATO ally status just, this year. And this happens in Kenya, and suddenly what we see is that the president is coming and he's having a much publicized address, and then he's cancelling all the deals that he signed with Adani. So there is no coincidence to this. This is definitely a very, very smartly planned, agenda against India. They first give Kenya that kind of an active capability. They try to tell Kenya that you have to work with the American interest and you have to push what we are telling you to do. And then once that's done, then they use the same Kenya to sow doubts regarding Adani's performance, regarding their economic policies and all in the minds of the people. So I'm sure they are trying to tarnish the group's image. And when Adani will now compete, of course, we all of us know this, that, the Biden administration, like Joyita ji also said before me, that the Biden administration, especially Joe Biden himself, his health is deteriorating. We've seen how mentally, he's not fit, and he has almost, started a World War III in the world. But while he's doing it, these Democrats are, picking up their last minute deadline, and they are trying to, push for whatever they can. And number one beneficiary from all what the Biden administration has done in the last year, I think it's China. Because first they go in Bangladesh, they unseat Sheikh Hasina, a very friendly leader for India. and ultimately who's benefiting from that. We all can see what's happening in Bangladesh today is definitely helping the China-Pakistan axis. Just a couple of days ago, a Pakistani ship, that maritime link between China and between Bangladesh and Pakistan, it was restored after 50 years. So I think all that connectivity, that Bay of Bengal region, very, geopolitically, it's vulnerable. It's the hotbed of politics right now, but also now firmly, this region is coming in the pocket of China and Pakistan. So I think these Chinese, people and all these conspiracy theories that till date to me seems like conspiracy theory only, that the Chinese have infiltrated the deep state in United States, or maybe George Soros has got hands in this, and he being the, Masiha of the liberals, and also, his linkages with the CCP. I think all those conspiracy theories do not seem like a conspiracy theory to me in today's date. This definitely has got Chinese, I mean, maybe, I'll still give them a slight benefit of doubt that maybe it's not actively a Chinese hand, but whatever the Biden administration has done in the last 1 year, it has definitely harmed so-called strategic partners India's interest, and has definitely helped their strategic foe, the prime challenge to their hegemony, and that is China. So, going forward, I'd be really surprised if Donald Trump behaves in a different way, and I'll be happily surprised. I'm kind of also hoping for that. I'm very optimistic about, his policies. So I think we may see a brighter day on the horizon when it comes to India-US relations, but there's a lot of mess that Biden has, spread, and cleaning it will definitely take a lot of, willpower, and also a lot of, Trump's own desire to, tell the deep state its place. So I think it's high time now Indian scholars and academics, whoever, is in the business of geopolitics, they should study deep space, their deep state, come up with reports, find out who's linked with whom, because now the game has really got messy for Indian interests. Thank you there.
My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.